Why, hello there. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you're a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Today, I wanted to do a no-buy on my 2024 no-buy experience. And perhaps you can watch the full video and let me know if you think I succeeded. I wanted to briefly go through the reasons for wanting to do a no-buy, and then maybe some reflections of my experience. And then the exciting bit, which is where I go and show you every single makeup product that I bought in 2024. Now, you might be thinking, hang on, you just said you were on a no-buy. So what are you talking about buying makeup items? Well, that's because I had some rules. I had some rules and some exceptions that I'll go over with you in a minute. But first, I wanted to talk about why I decided to do a no-buy. And basically, it was for one main reason, which was that I bought a lot of makeup in 2023, and I felt like I'd added so much new items into my collection that I wanted to use those items and also use the rest of my collection in 2024 and really decide what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to let go. And that's, in fact, you've seen that process already because I've been posting all of my declutter videos. And that's because I got a chance to use my makeup collection. And because I'd added so many new items in my collection, I really just was in a point in around December 2023 where I just thought, you know what, I don't want to buy anything for a while. And it was around then that I decided I'm going to make this formal and I'm going to do a no buy. I actually was planning on posting to YouTube all that time ago, but things happened. I just couldn't get my act together, couldn't do the right setup, etc., etc. And so I never posted any videos about my no buy or progress for my no buy in 2023. But it's a good time to do a video now, and I can hopefully do a nice, short, concise video and even share with you some of the lessons I learned or some of my reflections and some tips and tricks. So please continue watching. So what were the rules? Basically, I decided that I wanted some flexibility around it. I didn't want it to be a hard and fast no buy on all beauty items. My no buy was restricted to makeup items only, so skincare and hair care and perfumes and things weren't included. And there was some exceptions in that as well. So a couple of the rules around my makeup no buy were that I could buy one item a month, and that if I didn't buy an item in any given month, it would roll over to the next month. So if I decided not to buy any makeup from, say, January to June, that would be 6 items that would roll over, and I could buy those items at any time throughout the year. So basically, only 12 items of makeup coming into my collection in 2024. Those were my rules. Now, there was a couple of exceptions because there's a couple of areas in my makeup collection where I don't feel like I have, for want of a better word, a problem. In that I only have 1 or 2 of these items in my collection at any given time. And so I thought if I use up those items, or if for some reason those items no longer work for me, then I want to be able to purchase that item to be able to do my makeup. So there's 4 categories that sort of fell in: mascara, eye primer, face primer, and brow products. I will show you, I did actually buy 3 items that fall into that category. So before I get into the items that I actually purchased, I wanted to just reflect on my experience of doing a no buy. I think overall I had a really positive experience. For the first 6 to 7 months, I found it quite easy. I think the number of items that I brought into my collection in 2023 were such that I had enough new items to play with that I didn't really feel like buying anything for the first 3 to 4 months. And in fact, I remember thinking in January, I made a bet with myself that I think I can easily get to July without buying a single thing. And I was curious how far I could get without buying a single thing. So we'll get to that portion of the video soon. And in fact, that's what it turned out to be. I didn't really even, I think I might have been slightly tempted by like some lip product releases or some cream blushes or something, because they're sort of some of my favorite makeup categories, but I was fairly easily able to talk myself out of buying those products. I think another reason for that is that I'm just looking back at my makeup purchasing habits over the past, say, 5 or so years, I've just realized that I'm much more excited about the makeup that starts to get released by brands from, say, July, August onwards. So we're getting the autumnal, the Halloween, the Christmas, the winter palettes. And I'm so much more excited by the theming of those palettes, by the color stories of those palettes. I realized that I'm not that interested in the summer and spring collections. There might be like an item here or there that I really want to try. But in general, I'm not so excited about those products as I am about stuff that comes out in the sort of last 5 or so months of a year. So all of that taken together, I kind of knew that I wouldn't have too much trouble sticking to my no buy till about July. But I was curious in January how long I would last, and I was right. In fact, it was around July where I started to get the feeling that I wanted to buy some makeup items. And part of that was because it had been so long since I'd purchased a makeup item. And part of that was because the autumnal releases were sort of starting to be sneak peeked, and it was sort of piquing my interest. Um, and a big part of that also was that I started consuming a lot more beauty content again on social media. So in sort of January, February, March, April, I was watching a lot more gaming content, a lot more sort of puzzle type content on YouTube. I follow a lot of art and craft accounts on Instagram. So, like, other content was consuming my time more than beauty content. I watched some videos here and there. Like, I like to support creators, of course, but I just wasn't consuming that much beauty content. And I think that that really helped me. So, if you're looking for a tip, my number one biggest tip to you is unsubscribe from emails from your favorite brands. You don't need to see the sales. You don't need to see the new releases. You don't need to see bundles and what's about to be sold out and whatever else. Like, if you are serious about wanting to stick to a no buy, particularly I think if you're doing it for a financial reason, then the best thing you can do for yourself is to unsubscribe from any marketing emails, and then try and reduce your consumption of beauty content on social media as much as possible, because there's a reason why influencing is such big business. If it wasn't, brands wouldn't be sinking the entirety of their marketing budget into influencer marketing. It works. When X number of people are raving about a particular new release, it's only a matter of time before you and I as a consumer might get tempted to purchase that product. And that's totally fine if that's what we want to do. But if we're trying to stick to a no buy, and if we're trying to be successful on a no buy or a low buy, reducing our exposure to that content is one sure way to help us succeed in that. So that would be my number one tip if you were after a tip. So July was when I made my first set of purchases. And it was funny because I almost didn't want to make the purchases because I wanted to see how long I could go. I was like, let's keep this streak going. Don't break the streak. But I think I just got to the point where I thought, you know what, no, I've really wanted these items and I want to buy them. I think in general, I was quite happy with how the no buy went. I think I probably did save quite a bit of money because if you think about it, I used to go in, say I went shopping, grocery shopping at my local shopping center. Well, my local shopping center has a Priceline and a Mecca Cosmetica store. That's like kind of like a Sephora, and the Priceline is kind of like an Ulta, say, if you're watching and you're American. So they have a lot of beauty items. And previously, I would just walk in, to see what's new, what's on sale, is there anything I want? And I would invariably walk out with one or two makeup products. A lot of that sort of impulse buying, I wasn't doing anymore. And the time I saved not going into makeup stores perusing would have been a decent amount of time. So I think from that perspective, it was quite a positive thing for me. What was interesting was after I did start purchasing items, you have to remember that I had 12 items I could purchase throughout the year. So I did still have to be careful when I was going into these stores perusing items. So I found myself not doing that as much. I sort of resubscribed to a bunch of brands and everything because I wanted to see all the releases that were coming out in the second half of the year. And I started watching beauty content again. And of course, you know, as soon as I started doing that, oh, now there's all this stuff I want to buy. But I think it was a good test because I knew I only had 12 products, and I knew that the Black Friday sales were going to be, you know, they generally good for a lot of brands. So I wanted to keep a number of items free so that I could shop the Black Friday sales. And that meant that I had to be really careful what I bought. So it was a challenge for me, but a good challenge. And I think because of that reflection and looking at my habits and really thinking things through before I purchased items, apart from one or two instances, although I'm happy with the purchases I made in 2024, but I think doing all of that work to reflect on my behavior and what I like and what I don't like and why I purchase makeup, I think it really helped me because my no buy ended in end of December 2024, and it's not like I've gone crazy makeup spending. So that says to me that I think the no buy really did help just reset me a little bit because again, I've seen lots of new releases on social media for Dior spring collections, Dior, Chanel, Golan, some of the indie brands releasing palettes. Some are still sort of releasing winter type color schemes and collections, and I'm not really interested in any of them. So it's interesting. So in 2025, my goal is to be really mindful. You've seen my declutter series. You will see how much I have in my collection. And I think my goal is to not add too many items in 2025. But I have some ideas. I'm not necessarily going to do a no buy again, but I have some ideas and I'll do a separate video on that, I think. What did I buy in 2024? In terms of exceptions to my no buy rule, I bought 3 items. The first was an eye primer from Mecca Matte. It's actually a liquid eyeshadow. It's in the shade Cool Beige. And as the name suggests, it's a cool beige color. And I bought it because I'd heard that these were long-wearing eyeshadows. And I thought that because it's got color to it, it would help even out the discoloration. And I wanted to test it as an eyeshadow primer. I've had a lot of issues with primers. I had 2 in my collection, a Beauty Bay one and a MAC one. The Beauty Bay one I decluttered. It just didn't work for me. It did absolutely nothing for me. Within half an hour, eyeshadows would crease. And then I have a MAC one that maybe gives me 2 hours of wear before eyeshadows crease, so obviously not ideal. So I really was looking for an eyeshadow primer that would actually work for me. And I didn't want to spend the money on a NARS Pro Prime. Which is like $50 something here in Australia. So I thought I'd try these. I think I got this for like between $12 and $15. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. And it is a decent eyeshadow primer actually, but this one was pretty good. So I'm happy with this purchase. The second thing I bought was a pore filling face primer. I'd been missing something like this from my collection. And this one's also mattifying, which I didn't necessarily want, but I thought I'd give this one from Milani a try. It's the Milani No Pore Zone primer. In the wintertime, this did not work very well for me. If you have really dry skin, I didn't like how this sat under my makeup. But even in my oily T-zone, in the cooler weather, I didn't like how it looked. But in the summertime, now that the weather is really warm here, this actually performs really well. I like the smoothing effect. It's interestingly not that mattifying for me, but it does take away some of the shine. And I feel like my makeup gets less shiny throughout the day in my T-zone and particularly on my nose, which is the oiliest part of my face. So I like this product as well in the warmer months. The next item I bought was a mascara. This was an impulse buy. I saw it on Instagram and I was intrigued. I was curious. The people on the ad were raving about it because it's a mascara with, I don't know, hopefully that is focusing. I can't tell. Yeah, it's a mascara with no bristles. So I was really intrigued, and in the ad, it was adding a lot of length to people's eyelashes. And I mean, this is actually a pretty good mascara, and it's smudge proof. It's from the brand, I don't know what this brand is. Hopefully you can see. And it's just 01 Black. And yeah, I like this as well. Okay, getting into the main part of this video, which I would find the most interesting, I think. Hopefully you find it interesting as well. I have in front of me the products that I bought in 2024, and I've put them in order that I bought them because I thought it might be interesting to share when I bought them and why. Okay, so Lisa Eldridge is my favorite makeup artist that I guess has a social media presence. I followed her for years and followed her work for years. And I was just so excited when she started a makeup brand. I think it was around 4 years ago. But I could never purchase a product because it is a luxury brand. So the prices are pretty steep. And more so, the shipping is pretty steep. And you have to order quite a decent amount to get decent shipping to Australia. So essentially, I wanted to wait until I got to a point where I wanted to order like a number of products, so it would be a larger order, and I could get decent shipping. And I'd been curious. I had been curious about a few products. I'd always wanted to try her skin tint. So this is her skin tint. I have the shade T5. And this is a very runny product. You have to shake it. It's a very light coverage product, but what I love about it is that it is smoothing and blurring enough, even with its light coverage, that it gives me the effect of like a medium coverage foundation, because it just seems to blur. I'm not wearing it today, but it just seems to sort of smooth and blur around any imperfections that I might have, so that it gives the illusion of a higher coverage foundation. And if I go over it with a powder, it's like perfect. I'm sort of savoring this for the cooler months because this worked really felt well for my dry skin in the wintertime. So I'm sort of not using it in the summertime as much so that I can keep it for the wintertime. But that was the first product that I bought. So that's item number one. Then I bought this Seamless Skin Elevated Glow Highlighter. I have the shade Cosmic Rose. I'd heard such amazing things about this highlighter. This one is like a rosy beige and it's perfect for my skin tone. And it just gives like a really lovely, healthy glow without sparkle. It's like very luminous. It's not a very, I suppose you could layer it to get more of an intense shine, but I absolutely love the effect of this. But what really drew me to this product was her describing it, in that she was talking about that product almost forming like a firming matrix on your skin and giving this firming effect. So I was really curious how that would work and what that meant. However, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not putting highlighter over my entire face that often. Maybe in the colder months. So I haven't really sort of experienced that firming, tightening effect of this, because when I wear it, it's sort of just concentrated on this sort of cheek area where you can see my highlight right now. This is MAC Soft and Gentle, by the way. My all-time favorite powder highlighter for my skin tone. So I do like it. I'm panning one of my liquid highlighters now, and this is my only other liquid highlighter, so I'm quite happy about that. Then I bought this lipstick in Velvet Ribbon, the classic red shade in her collection. I went on her website, right? My intention was not to buy a red lipstick because I have enough red lipsticks. I don't wear those lipsticks as often as I should already, but I could not pick a shade. I watched so many reviews, I kept looking at the photos, and none of the shades just seemed right. And it just felt right to get the classic red from her collection. So that's what I went with. Next, I believe I bought the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette. Hopefully you can see that. I mean, you've probably seen lots of people showing this palette. I really like this palette. I do not regret it at all. The reason that I bought this and I decided to use one of my no-buy items on this product was because I really, really, really like the I Need a Nude palette. And I thought I wanted more warmer tones of the mattes and the type of shimmers that Natasha Denona does. So I'm very happy I bought that palette. I love the subtle dual chrome in there, multi-chrome in there as well. It looks really pretty on the eye. I don't mind that it's not intense. I really like it. It's subtle enough, but it's still, you can still see the flip, and I find that really, really pretty. Next, I bought the Givenchy powder, I believe. This is the Prism Libre powder. I got the shade number 1 Mousseline Pastel, mainly because the shade 2 and 3 that I wanted to buy were sold out at the time. That this was on a whim, okay? This was a complete impulse purchase. I didn't even really, I mean, I'd heard about this product, but I wasn't really even thinking about the product, except that I was watching all these beauty gurus and influencers talking about how Givenchy had reformulated that powder and it is no longer their holy grail like setting powder. And they were describing how smoothing it is and how wonderful it is for the under the eyes and all this sort of stuff. And I thought, oh my God, like I need to have it. That sounds like a powder that I want, because even though I do have drier skin, in the oilier areas and on my cheeks, I do have larger pores, and I just consistently have trouble with setting my under eyes with things that are too dry, or they don't set my under eye properly and my concealer creases anyway, etc., etc. So I'm really happy I bought this powder. I'm a really, really big fan. This does leave a little bit of a white cast, so a deeper shade would have been better for me, but I really, really like this powder. It's amazing. Clarins Lip Oil Balm. I love the Clarins lip oil, and so when I heard about these lip oil balms, it's just a very easy, standard, like my lips but better type color. It's in the shade 03. It was an impulse buy, but I mean, this is a really easy product, lip product to wear. Then in October, Maier had this sale on their luxury makeup, and I saw that Gucci was on sale. So I bought a lipstick and a blush. The blush that I bought is in 05 Rosy Beige. This is the blush. Really, really pretty rosy brown shade on the cheeks. And this is the lipstick. It's really pretty though. And this is I Dream Too Much 310. It's one of their sheer sort of satin lipsticks. And does it say the formula? Because they've got a few different formulas. Yeah, sheer lip color. So this was the other product that I bought. And I don't regret that at all. I love both of those products. So at this point, I've got 8 products. And I can buy another 4. And we're not even up to Black Friday sales yet. Now, thankfully for me, the brands I normally buy from for Black Friday in terms of eyeshadow palettes like Oden's Eye and Cosmic Beauty didn't really release anything that I wanted. So I didn't buy from those brands. There was a couple of things from Glamlight that interested me, and I don't own anything from Glamlight, so I almost pulled the trigger. But a brand that I really wanted to try, and I wanted to try them in 2023, but they didn't really release anything. No, that's not true. They released the Ghost Town USA, and that's the palette that I wanted. From the moment that I saw the Ghost Town USA palette, here's a sneak peek to one of the items that I purchased. I knew that I wanted it. Really pretty, cool tone eyeshadow palette. And I knew that I wanted this palette. And then they released the Chicago Speakeasy, I guess it was in October, so I guess it was their autumn collection. And that is this palette. And I knew that I had to have this palette as well. Like, this was one of the the second color story from Nomad that I thought I really wanted and I would enjoy. This row here are all multi-chromes, and then the rest of the palette are mattes. The Ghost Town USA palette is a cool tone palette, and the Chicago Speakeasy is a neutral, mainly a neutral palette. There's a couple of warm shades in there, but mainly neutral. I really, really love this palette. I've used a few shades in here and really, really amazing. And this is the palette I was wearing in my empties video. If you haven't seen it, you can go and have a look and let me know what you think of the look. I use the greens in the palette. And I added a little bit of Oden's Eye shadows to it to brighten up a bit. But so far, I'm still playing with both palettes. I don't regret my purchases. I'm glad I got to try Nomad. I've realized that their multi-chrome formula is amazing. It is more of a subtle multi-chrome, but I love how smooth it is. And the Smoother dry formula means that they last really well on the eyes. So I'm a big fan. And the mattes that I've tried, particularly the neutral, actually all of the mattes have been good. I think it's just the smokier cool tone shades in the Ghost Town USA are just harder for me to wear. But the mattes are actually really good quality. So I'm happy with those No Matte palettes. And then I mean I could have stopped there actually, because there wasn't really anything else that caught my eye or I thought I wanted to spend my money on. A lot of the indie brands that I want to try, like Fantasy Cosmetica, Blend Bunny, a lot of the Bella Beauty Bar, shipping to Australia is anywhere from like $50 to $80, $90 Australian. And so I'm not going to be purchasing from those brands until they can offer better shipping. This is not anything against the brands. Australia is very far away and these are small indie brands. So there's nothing against the brands. I'm just saying, for me, I can't justify spending that amount of money on shipping. So as much as I wanted some of those palettes, I wasn't going to buy them. But there was a brand that I've been wanting to try for a while because I haven't recently bought from them, and that's Glamonatrix Cosmetics. And around July time, they released this Barely Basic palette, which looks like this. I'm sure you've all seen it on social media. And I actually picked this up when there wasn't a sale. They subsequently did like a post-Christmas sale, I think, or something like Boxing Day sale for 20% off. And unfortunately, I'd already bought it full price. So, but I have used it a few times. I'm not sure how I feel about this formula yet. I think I have to use it more. The mattes were okay, they were fine. The one multi-chrome I used, I was a little disappointed in, but I think I just need to use it more. Like I can't actually say anything apart from my first experience was just okay. And then I got the Nocturnal palette, full price as well. I believe that the brand has stated that once this palette is sold out, they're not gonna make it again. I believe that that's the case. And I bought it at the same time as I bought the other palette. And the color story of that palette, just from the first time that I saw it years ago when they released the original, this is the mini version. I knew I wanted it because it is such an interesting color story. I still find it inspiring. I have used it once, and again, I think the multi-chromes in here were fine. I'm just not sure. The mattes I didn't feel like blended out, and I used sort of these sort of mattes at the top here. I didn't feel like they blended out as well as I was expecting. So again, I need to try this palette more to determine if I like it or not. Oh, I wasn't expecting to do mini reviews, but here you are. So they're the 12 items that I bought. What do you think? I think I did really well. I think my no buy was successful. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the products. If you only had 12 products to buy in 2024, what would you have bought? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you had as much fun watching as I had filming it. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I've been wanting to share my no buy experience, and I've been wanting to share the products that I bought. Let me know if you're going to do a no buy in 2025. I'm really curious who wants to do a no buy and a low buy. I don't think I'm going to do a no buy or a low buy per se, but I think I am going to do like another challenge. Stay tuned, and I'll have more videos out shortly. Bye.